Hey guys, just a quick warning before I show any gameplay. There's gonna be a bunch of flashing, so if you're sensitive to that, just don't watch this video.
This world must be purged!
Need more time.
So... Not even this arrow's best could kill. You don't have what not even this arrow's best could kill me. You cannot wound
Totally bullying this boss.
Won't let you or anyone else stop me now.
And the boss gone. That was almost 8 million life. So this build is kind of like a turning point for me, because I've been playing this build quite a lot, despite thinking that I won't like it, flashing all the time and can't really see anything, and it's annoying sound a bit, but I've been playing so much and farmed so much currency with this build that it made me want to play more, just because of how easy it is to play and how much currency I was making with this build. Just playing this build in like 3 days, like over 100 divines, which for some may not be much, but I have never saved up over 200 divines ever in any of the leagues. Even in PoE 1 in like 15 years. And because I was making so much money, I invested a bit more into this build, and like getting level 21 skill gem, getting a bit expensive helmet, this round helmet, and also crafting my own crossbow, which isn't really difficult to craft. It's not really that expensive build to make. This has so much damage that even if you lost half of the damage, you would still be able to do maps just fine. So this is Gemling stacking quality, and if you don't know, Gemling gets alternative quality for all the skills. Explosive grenades and Mortar Cannon does have pretty good synergy with the all quality. I was also experimenting by using better fitted body armor because I didn't really have a good way to build up defenses, so I wanted to see if this body armor is worth using, and after playing so much, I think it's fine. I was doing all the tier 15 maps with pretty much any mods that I want, except less region. Pretty much just avoid those maps. Everything else, even including 200% Delirious maps, this can run just fine. Of course, it's going to be a bit slower on 200 Delirious, but so far, like all the bosses, all the maps, everything was very easy. So maybe before I should show PoB numbers. They're a bit bloated, but they are correct. This is average damage per projectile, per totem. And this is also with the parry debuff, which is very easy to activate with the refutation. You just click that and it will hit you, and boom, we are taking 50% more damage for like 3 seconds or something like that. Which in most cases is more than enough to just delete them. And also path of building does not calculate the alternative quality. That's why you see that the spirit is negative. But it's not negative because it's not calculating for 30% increased reservation efficiency. Now, Mortar Cannon, let's start with that, gets extra 1 totem per 20 quality, and I am getting 40 quality, 20% normal quality, and then remaining quality comes from Darkness Enthroned. You Socket Fox Idol. I believe you need 92% increased effect of Socketed augments. The other augment, actually, I had to even socket +1 charm, whatever. Another 5% quality comes from the anointment, which is now much cheaper because people are running Delirium maps more often. This one is 9% from the Darkness Enthroned, this one is 5, 14, and then 6% from the small passives. So Mortar Cannon gets +2 limit. Then I get plus another 2 from the weapon, and then another 1 on the passive skill tree, so that's +6. So I can summon 7 totems. You do want as much totem placement speed as possible. And then for the explosive grenade, which does not need sockets, just needs quality, it gets extra projectiles. So again, at 40 quality it's getting +4 projectiles. So it's already shooting 5 projectiles. You could go for another extra projectile here, but I tried this node and it feels bad because it delays the explosion. For clearing, it just felt worse. In addition, I'm using gas grenade to strip enemy armor and oil grenade for the exposure. And I do have a bit of penetration. Also, I am running Eternal Rage just to generate rage, and there is a bit of synergy. So first of all, to break enemy armor, normally it's only for physical, but when you take this one, breaking enemy armor also affects fire damage. Enemies take 20% increased fire damage from hits. You break armor with gas grenade. And rage, you actually can very easily get a lot of maximum rage from 4 points here, and rage just gives you a lot of damage. You could also travel here, sorry, not here, this one, where every rage would also grant 1% increased fire damage. Now the passive tree looks a bit weird because I need to travel, I wanted to travel this way, but also had to fix the mana issues to convert some of the mana into life cost. And this is a lot more sustainable now, and I really like using Lavianga Spirit. Also, each totem has its own cooldown and its own charges. Yeah, it has 5-second cooldown and 3 uses. With the passive skill tree, it's 4 uses before they go on cooldown. So I don't think that you even need to invest into cooldown recovery rate, because you're just gonna replace the totem anyway. Once again, I noticed one more passive point that isn't what it should be. Because I'm using the surround helmet, you need at least require 4 fewer enemies. You don't need 5 anymore, it doesn't work. You need always at least 1 enemy, and the surround I believe is only 3 meters by default, so you do want to pick up the surround area and ideally get cultivated mod with the surround area as well, and then you just pick up most of our surround stuff. Mostly damage. I don't have that much armor, and since this is Gemling, it is getting armor and life, I believe, from those modes or whatever they are called. I really do not like these things, but when you get a hit you lose them, so it's very inconsistent. I do have 3,200 health, but only for the first hit. I did not play with this build from the start. This is like a 5th build on this Gemling. So I did not level with grenades. If you were to level with grenades, I probably would not use Mortar Cannon early on, because you probably would want some totem stuff to make it a bit tankier, or just placement speed. It would not feel good without placement speed. So early on, maybe just use explosive grenades yourself. Actually, I haven't talked about the supports. Elemental armaments, fire attunement, short fuse. It's either short fuse or adhesive grenades, which basically stuck where they land. It still would have longer delay before they would explode, and I wanted it to explode a bit faster. That's why I'm using short fuse. And then payload, that reduced cooldown recovery rate doesn't really matter for this, because you're just gonna keep replacing totems anyway. So you essentially get a 50% chance to activate a second time for grenades. For the gas grenade, corrosion and Uruk smelting break 70% more armor, so it strips enemy armor pretty quickly, but bigger bosses usually die before I can even strip their armor, so I'm not even sure if armor stripping is even needed. You could probably even refund these points and just straight up pick up some damage somewhere else. And then AoE and adhesive grenade, just so they don't roll anywhere. For the old grenade, stronger exposure, adhesive grenades again, AoE and less detonation time. And you kind of need to stay pretty close to enemies for the helmet to give you all that damage and defenses. But by the way, the body armor, you could experiment with something else, but enemies in your presence are intimidated. It's both defensive and offensive choice, because also the presence is not that big. You kind of need to be pretty close to enemies, but against bigger bosses you're probably gonna be. The rest of the gear, I just had these gloves from before. Just want life resistances and flat damage if possible, either flat physical or flat fire. Now the crossbow, you can craft stuff like this, and it's not too expensive to craft, but there is a bit of I guess gambling involved. Not gambling, but luck involved. But to craft, I think I paid like about 3 divines. As you can see, this could be better. This is still missing +1 level, and the damage rolls are not that great. Here's another one that I crafted earlier on in a different way. I think this one was using desecrate, and this one used, I believe, alloy or essence. I don't remember which one was it. I am missing +3 levels. There's a unique jewel with +3 to specific skill level, is very expensive, like 120 divines. Even +2 is pretty pricey, so I did not get any of these, but +3 would give you about 30% more DPS, so you can still increase the damage by quite a bit more, like getting plus level on a weapon with higher rolls and another +3 levels. That's like +4 levels. I do have +3 projectiles on the amulet, as much life as possible. As for the jewels, just any jewel with damage essentially. Although I did want to get increased mana cost efficiency, because mana, like I said, can be a problem with this, since you have 7 totems, and ideally you would also want more totem placement speed. Also, I am using a thing like that. I feel like totem placement speed is really important for this. The more you have, the quicker you can like place all the totems. Like, it takes way too long to place 7. So, but it's not really a big deal because usually against boss fights, you just place them once and it just shreds the boss. I'm thinking what else to mention, but like it's pretty straightforward. By the way, I did take Iron Reflex to convert evasion into armor. I don't feel like I'm getting hit very often despite not having evasion. It's probably because of perfidy, almost 30% chance to avoid pretty much any kind of damage type from hits. I feel like this is better than getting like 30% deflection chance because deflection is not 100% mitigation, while this one is. Although if you could combine deflection with this, it would feel a lot tanker, but then again, do you really need to be tanker? If you are in danger, just use refutation because it gives you 100% block for a few seconds. Also, getting enough resistances was a bit of a challenge because the helmet no resistances, body armor no resistances, belt no resistances. You have to get a lot of resistances and still attributes on remaining pieces. So from all the quests, make sure that you pick up all the quests that give resistances. And one last thing, once I was higher level, I always carried Omen of Resurgence. This Omen saved my life so many times. When you drop to low life, it restores your health. Always carry these, and they are very cheap. For the next build, I was going to do Auto Spark build. I already did Auto Spark in the past, but it got nerfed, and now that I have more currency, I thought that I can remake it and make it viable again. But I tried it a bit and it's not looking promising at all. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be doing Auto Spark like I promised, and I don't really have other ideas what to do. So this may or may not be my last build video. I hope not, because I still like to play a bit more. I don't want to be stuck for like 2 days over 10 hours just planning builds and not having anything that I would want to play. So if you got some interesting build ideas, let me know in the comments below. And for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you hopefully soon. Bye bye.